The Song of Zazen by Hakuin Eikaku Zenji. Sentient beings are fundamentally Buddhas. Testify to the truth. This very body is the body of the Buddha. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, it is. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It says right here. Good middle day.
Good middle day.
Good noodle day. Good clean cloth day. It is a great day. We just chanted Song of Zazen, and I selected 3 lines from it, and we'll get there. You know, I'll tell you, when I was asked to speak, the same emotions come up. Oh my God! Oh, okay. Calm down. Okay, topic A. Great, got it. Okay, I can work on this. I got time. Next morning I wake up. No, topic B. Topic B is gonna be good. The next morning, I wake up. Topic C. Now, topic C, if I pull that one off, they'll be floating off the cushions, the skies will open. It'll be amazing. No. Back to topic A. Myogen. Death. It's not enough to say death. Death! I asked Myogen's permission. And I know Shinge Roshi will be holding a 49-day ceremony. Terrence, Yuho, Keenan, Zenji passed May 25th. Yuho! We'll get back to death. You'll get there. Promises. I've been thinking about death, independent of Yuhosa, simply because it's coming. We don't know when. And the recent trip to Japan with Shinge Roshi, Kobayashi Roshi, who we visited, gave us a little booklet. Butsudo Teikan, Buddhist Principles. Your guide for death education. That's what this is. So, there's a preamble. It says very nice things. This is not necessarily a Rinzai book. I think he wrote this for a general Buddhist public. So, on the first page, don't know if you can see, hourglasses. It's obvious. When you start, you got all the sand on the top. And then it starts running. And then in the middle, half is gone, half is left. Then one day you turn around and you say, oh, where does all the sand go? And it's running through like sands of the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. Whether there's a full load on top, or middle, or small amount on top, the same amount is running through. Your ability continues. Oh, I'm too old. Nonsense. I'm too old. Not you. So, it has a nice little discussion about continued vitality. Continued vitality. On the next page, there's very few graphics. They're all up front, I guess, to just make you feel, oh, what's this? Oh, it's my plane ticket. It's no good anymore. So on the next page, there's this discussion about transformation. And you probably can't see it. Even though it's right in front of me, I can't read it. I mean, this takes me hours just to muddle through. But there's two arcs, starting at the bottom, going to the top. And at the top is Buddha. And on one side is Jikai, strict adherence to the precepts. And on this side is do as you will. They both lead to Buddha. People misinterpret do as you will. Me too. So, the next section, I'm only going to do a couple more things out of here because it's as far as I've gotten in the last couple weeks since I got back. It's going to take me a while to barrel through, cut through this. He lists, the activities. Kobayashi Roshi, he wrote this. He doesn't harp on death. He says, what are you going to do with your life? There's a saying in various, you take a sheet of paper and on one side you write the character death and on the other side you write life. That's how close they are. Just two sides of the same sheet of paper. So, what are the first things he lists? Well, the very first one is very small type. Sambo, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Butsu, Ho, So. The very first thing he lists. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, the three treasures. He doesn't say set up a 401k. He doesn't say, he says Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. The second one, Sangaku. I had an opportunity during Rohatsu to speak also, and I spoke about Sangaku, which is 3 studies. And I spoke about it from an interpretation from a different organization, a martial arts school. But Sangaku for that school comes from Buddhist principles, sangaku, kai-jo-e. Kai, the precepts, jukai, right? Kai, precepts. Jo, meditation. E, wisdom. It's the same thing I talked about before. It's a precepts, some teachings. Wisdom, practice, meditation, practice. Put it into action, wisdom. So I'm repeating myself using different words this time. Kai-jo-e. The third one, sango. Body, mouth, and thought. How do you use it? So that's almost enough. That's a lot to work on. The 3 treasures, the 3 studies, the 3, what is this character? Sango. Body, mouth, and thought, actions. So maybe some other time when I get further into this, I'll write something down. I said the same thing in front of Shinge Roshi and said, yes, you will. Or something like that. I'm making stuff up, Roshi, sorry. But as are all things, this book came at a time when my mind was directed in that direction. It happens. It happens all the time. So this Japan trip was amazing. Shinge Roshi, the purpose of the trip, Shinge Roshi was invited to. You can read it. I'm not gonna talk about the trip. Roshi wrote a very nice article. It's on the website, I believe, and I don't know. Maybe we'll hear some choice words from her. So I won't. I'll say a few things from my personal perspective, not from how wonderful the trip was, which it was wonderful. I've been going to Japan very consistently for more than 25 years. And then I didn't go the last 3 years. Of course, travel bans were in effect. Last 4 years or so. Travel bans were in effect. I was really itching to go back to Japan because some affinity, something. So, as these things go, I get a phone call from Shinge Roshi. Hello, Kushu. Hi, Roshi. What do you think about Japan in May? Oh, I think the weather's very lovely, but it gets pretty hot towards the end of the month. What's the point? And then she told me all about the event. And in a heartbeat, I said yes. In a heartbeat, yes. Isn't this what we do? This is what we need to do. In a heartbeat, we have to say yes. Then, after in a heartbeat I said yes, then started, okay, now what am I going to do? No, but it was a great trip. Genryu was there, and it was great. As a personal effect or personal, observation, to be in the midst of this activity, this installation of Yamakawa Roshi as head abbot of Myoshinji. Lay people and monks from everywhere came. It was just thousands of people. And to be in the midst of that activity, of that Dharma activity, of course, we are in the midst of Dharma activity wherever we are. This is everywhere, without differentiation or degree. Did we read that part yet, or is it coming? It's coming. So pay attention during the Diamond Sutra. This is everywhere, without differentiation or degree. But occasionally, like this Sesshin, like this event, have a special power, a focus. And it comes from the energy and the spirit of the Sangha. It's not a building. It's not a ceremony. It's the spirit and the energy and the devotion of the entire Sangha that makes something like this Sesshin so special. Not the building, although a wonderful building. It's wonderful buildings in Japan. We went to a temple with no buildings, and the sign said, it was nature. The sign said, no buildings needed. So, yes, that's a flower does not talk. I ain't no flower, so I'm going to keep talking. Sentient beings are fundamentally Buddha. Testify to the truth. This very body is the body of the Buddha. Song of Zazen, when I heard it first, I don't know about first, but when I started to hear it, first I learned, attended morning service. When I started sitting, attended morning service. Of course, the first thing I learned, because it was 4 words, Namu Dai Bosa. But Song of Zazen, when I heard it, both in Japanese and English, really, I love it. It might be because I was learning Japanese at the time and I could make out more of it in Japanese than I could the other sutras. Because, the Heart Sutra and Great Light Dharani, they're in the Sino-Japanese. So the pronunciations attached to the characters are actually more Chinese than Japanese. As a matter of fact, I have a friend who lives in Hong Kong. He's a Chinese Canadian. He was in Japan, this was years ago. We were in Japan for a different purpose, and there was a ceremony at Myoshinji. And I said, Kelvin, come on, let's go. So we went, and we sat through the ceremony in Heart Sutra and Great Light Dharani, and everything was chanted. And when we walked out, he looked at me. He knew nothing about Rinzai. He said, Kushu, you're just chanting in Cantonese. Because Cantonese is Hong Kong. He goes, you're just chanting in Cantonese. Ancient Cantonese, but Cantonese. And he could make out, Namu Karatan no, and such. So, but Song of Zazen is written in Japanese language. Hakuin Zenji lived, let me get it right, 1658 to 1658 to 1768, something. I have it in my notes on my 85. Thank you, Roshi. So, this is approximately the time of the American Revolution. So think about it, Japanese from then until present has changed. So while, tatoeba, some words, for example, some words you may recognize, but the point was, much like Vatican II, 200 years later, to put the liturgy in the language of the people. I grew up Roman Catholic, so I attended Latin masses young. Going from Latin to the local language, whether it's English or German or Spanish, this was radical. This took the power out of the hands of the clergy. What do you mean they can just say it themselves? We must be intercessors. There's God, there's me, and there's you. So Vatican II took a step in the right direction. Hakuin took it long before. Because it's not God, intercessor, human. It's Buddha. We are all Buddha. So who's to stand between you and you? I can't get in your way. I can be an annoyance, but I can't get in your way. So, Song of Zazen. Zazen Wasan. San means, I'm going to pick apart a few pieces because I don't know, many of you may know this and more, and many of you may not. San of what? Zazen Wasan, the Song of Zazen. Wasan, song. San, a song of praise. It's a song of praise, in praise of Zazen. So we understand Zazen. You've been doing it. What is the meaning of Zazen? Pain? Sure. Everything you feel during Zazen, that's the meaning of it. Love it, embrace it. Literally, you may say, Za is sitting. Seiza is kneeling, sitting with your hips on your heels. If you can do it, my right knee's all screwed up. That's why you see me upright. Can't bend my right knee. Seiza, correct sitting. So this kneeling is considered correct sitting. Anza, sitting at ease, as you are. Za, Zen, from dhyana, meditation. So sitting meditation, pretty straightforward. I found Huineng, the sixth patriarch, and I have this written down so I'll get it. 638 to 713 in China. Defines Zazen as, in the midst of all good and evil, not a thought is aroused in the mind. This is called Za, sitting. In the midst of evil, not a thought. I peeked ahead to tomorrow morning's Diamond Sutra section. Wait till you hear. In the midst of all good and evil, not a single thought is aroused. This is called Za. Seeing into one's self-nature, not being moved at all, this is called Zen. Seeing into your own nature. So, Zazen. No external influence, no internal turmoil. Simply sitting with the wind and the birds and the pain in the knee and the scroll banging on the wall. Song of Zazen. Zazen. Wonderful word. You have to fall in love with things. Fall in love with Zazen. Fall in love with Buddha Dharma. By falling in love, I mean when you hear it, let it move you. Let it, just feel it. It's not something apart from you. If you fall in love with it, you don't want your lover apart from you. I've had many people over the years, oh, I love this, I love that, I love this. Well, why don't you do it? Oh, you know, I'll get to it. I love this. I love that. Okay, good. Do it. I don't know anything else. Sentient beings are fundamentally Buddha. Sentient beings. Okay, so we can get into whole treatises on sentience and consciousness and what it means. And I propose sentient beings. We are fundamentally Buddha. We. You know, when you don't know the whole definition, take a core of it. We. You know, you can argue with me. You can say, no, there's more than, there's this and that and the other thing. Okay. And testify to the truth. Testify. Feel it. Live it. Zazen it. Is that a verb? Zazen it. Zazen it into your body. Zazen it into your mind. Mind and body. Yesterday, Chigan Roshi. Mind and body and breath, the mediator. Breath. Death. I almost died twice. Both involved breath. Kayaking in the Adirondacks on white water. Couldn't get up, couldn't get up, couldn't get up. Too much turbulence, too much. Last breath. I thought I had it. I literally, I have the memory right now of my last breath. I was struggling, reaching out, trying to pull myself up, roll over, but there were too many rocks and things in the way. And at some point, the oxygen was exhausted. And I didn't give up. I just said, oh, I'm not getting out of here. And then the stories of when the adrenaline kicks in and stuff. I'll tell you what I did. I did the stupidest thing. I did so many stupid things. First, I went kayaking by myself, even though I had a kayak partner who was with me. It was Sunday morning and he was still asleep. And I said, oh, I'll just go down about a mile and I'll walk the kayak back. And yeah, so there was stupid number one. Stupid number 2 is I sealed the tab for the rubber lip underneath. So when I reached for it, I couldn't get it. So here I am underwater thinking, stupid, stupid. So I just reached the bottom of the kayak, got whatever purchase I could, pushed as hard as I can, and ripped the rubber skirt right out. Got out, floated about, I don't know, 20, 30 feet down river, and there was a little eddy, so I got off the shore, and sitting there was this old guy. I was 22 at the time, so I have no idea what his age was. But as I could tell, he looked like he was fishing. He must have been watching the bottom of the boat do this. Interesting. I come up for air, gasping. He's like, "You okay?" I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Okay. That was it. My friend was so mad at me because I hiked it back up to the cabin, and we had to get in the car and go downstream and find the kayak. It was a couple miles down. But breath. My breath was gone. My second, I'll tell you, okay, I got time. The second time I almost died was July 2021. COVID. Hit me hard. It was, there was the COVID, then we had that summer, we had kind of it was dropping, and then the first variant came out. I got hit by one of those, the first one that came out. It was pretty virulent, I guess. I guess there's some variants out now that aren't as strong. They're very contagious, but they're not as strong. They don't hit you as hard. But this one I felt it one day, I felt it the next morning, and by the evening of the second day, I was flat out. EMTs were there. Mary, my wife, is freaking out. They put an oxygen mask on me. They take me to the emergency room. Where's Nyofu? Nyofu. Oximeter, 88. That's not good. So they got me on oxygen. A little bit more, they said intubate. Yeah. So they got me on oxygen, and they got me sitting in this chair that looks like, in the emergency room, that has the shape of a dentist chair. I'm sitting here like this, waiting for the dentist. And I got the oxygen, and the oxygen brought me back up over 90. So I thought, so the nurse, he came by and he said, just breathe that deeply, breathe that oxygen deeply. I said, okay. I heard a beep. I bumped over 92. They had me there for there was another hour or two or something. And then the same nurse came by and he said, I'm going to take the oxygen out and see how you do. He took it out and so now I could see the reading in front of me. It was on a little dial. So it was like a video game. Can I get the number up? And it was going. Then a doctor came, and he looked at a chart, and he looked at me, and he looked at the nurse, and he looked at the chart, and he looked at me, Okay, I can't do anything. They put me in a room till the next day. I was there less than 24 hours. I was back alive. But this breath saved me. We think we breathe deeply, but we're probably, on the inhale, maybe at 80%. On the exhale, maybe 20% left. It's not full. flower does not talk. When you're so full, there's no talking. Just fill up. Fill every cell of your body. Of course, I know your lungs are here. I know the diaphragm is here. I know what goes on. Okay, fine. But truly fill every cell of your body when you sit Zazen. Breathe in and fill it completely. Completely alive. Then at the peak of the cycle, naturally die. Gone. Even I can say gone means I'm not gone. When there's nothing, then return the cycle. Fully alive, fully gone. Fully alive, fully gone. This is, that 35 minutes that you're hoping the bell rings, it will go by if you focus this way. Next thing you know, ding, you're like, oh, can I do this more? Please? Thank you, sir. May I have another? A flower does not talk. Flowers do not talk. This is a book. This is a book that I've had for quite a while by Shibayama Zenkei Roshi. He has done, I have exactly 2 books of commentaries by him on the Song of Zazen. Flowers do not talk. A part of it is Song of Zazen, and a part of it is the Ox Herding Pictures, which Shinge Roshi did Teisho series on recently. But it's the Song of Zazen, so he must like Song of Zazen. This breath, Roshi, you talked about it being a mediator between mind and body, but physically, it's also a very interesting thing to work with because it's one of your physical systems that sits right between your voluntary action and your autonomic nervous system. So, where's Kimpu, scientist? There you are. If I misspeak, just say, wrong. But, you don't have to think to breathe. It's automatic, it's autonomic, it just, you breathe. But you have the ability to control it also with your mind. It's one of the few things. I think if you start with that, you may, like yogis or gurus, monks, Tibet, India, can control their heart rates and other things. I think the breath is your entryway in being in getting control of these autonomic systems in your body. And you learn how to do it there, and maybe you can extend it. And when you need to slow your heart rate down, like mine was going before this talk, and somebody just put a hand here and said, oh. Anyway, so working with your breath that way, and Shinge Roshi leads a very wonderful class at Hoenji on breath and deep presence, and it takes on different forms at times, but it is about the breath. I hope I'm saying the right things, Roshi. So, one more thing. In school, I was trained as a mathematician. So yesterday, when Roshi said, the rational is not real, and the real is not rational, my mind went to math. I'm like, right, okay. Yeah, right. The rationals are countable and the reals are uncountable, but they're both infinite. It's a great game. Math is a great game. 40,000 years ago, they say, our ancestors first started counting, and they can find artifacts where they were just ticking a piece of wood, tick 1, tick 2, tick 3, ticking, tick, tick, putting notches. And that's counting, and that's the first numbers, the counting numbers, 1 and up. Then the Romans didn't even have that. Roman numerals didn't even have a 0. So, zeros. Then came 0, and Roman numerals didn't have them. But then that got added. Then negative numbers got added. Then it's the integers. Then you've got negative numbers and positive numbers and 0. Then you come your rationals, then the reals. Then after the reals, there are transcendental numbers. Like pi. Pi is a transcendental number. It has no analytic function to describe it. So the name kind of fits. What transcendence are you going to capture in a formula? There is no formula. The Buddha already said it. There is no formula by which one attains Buddhahood. There is no formula by which one attains pi. It's all an approximation. Okay, transcendental numbers, then there's complex numbers, and this one drives Mary, my wife, crazy. Complex numbers are made of real numbers and imaginary numbers. As are all of you complex people, made up of a real part and an imaginary part. In math, you mark with a special marker the imaginary part so you can identify it. What if we could mark our imaginary parts? We'd have to mark everything. We'd have to mark everything, everything. There'd be little cartoon bubbles over your head. Imaginary, 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 imaginary. Well, after the complex numbers, that wasn't enough for mathematicians, so they made quaternions, and that has 3 imaginary parts. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But in Flowers Do Not Talk, Zenkei Roshi identifies the 3 lines that I highlighted here. See, it's not my doing. Sentient beings are fundamentally Buddhas. Line number 1. Somewhere in the middle, testify to the truth. The very last line. This very body is the body of the Buddha. He says these are the 3 pillars. This part I'm making up. So read between the lines. There's more there. The rest fleshes out these 3 pillars. Sentient beings, we are fundamentally. Why fundamentally? Why doesn't it just say we are Buddhas? We are fundamentally Buddhas. Why fundamentally? Because we get in our own way. Or our karmic baggage, our conditioning, our preconceptions, our false views, name it. They just get in the way. They get in the way of your beauty, of your Buddha. Fundamentally Buddha, testified to the truth. Know it yourself. Right? You know the story. Hey, is that cold water? Yeah. Great, thanks for telling me. See ya. Why don't you have some? Oh no, I just wanted to know. It's hot out. No, here, please drink it. Really? Is it cold? How cold? I want to know how cold. I don't want to drink it if it's not cold enough. Questioning everything. Instead, just take it. Take it all at once. Nothing is held back. Nothing is held back. Hey, is that cold water? Around each of the lines, you can take these pillars and around each of the lines. Sentient beings are fundamentally Buddhas. It is like ice and water. So Akwin's trying to say, it's the same thing. Like the sheet of paper with writing on one side and the other, it's still the sheet of paper. Like water and ice. It doesn't need anything. The ice doesn't need anything. The water doesn't need anything. It can transform. Transformations occur. Drastic transformations. What's the most drastic transformation? Death. Transformation nonetheless. Take the middle line. Testify to the truth that self-nature is no nature. No, that's not where I wanted to go. The previous line. But if we concentrate within and testify to the truth. Not go out and find an answer and cook it up and then, get on the stand and testify in court. We have to go within. We do that in our Zazen. We do that in our every activity. And we see, right. I can't say it. Flowers don't talk. The flower that the Buddha raised and twirled. And only Mahakashapa smiled. The first transmission. Upon realizing his own nature, the Buddha also couldn't talk. Couldn't say anything. No one will believe me. How wonderful. Indra had to talk him into it. Indra said, no, you gotta, go. They need you. But in the end, flower does not talk. The last line, this very body is the body of the Buddha. But the previous lines as a group. At this moment, what more need we seek? Maybe the end of this talk is what you're seeking, I don't know. As the truth eternally reveals itself, this very place is the lotus land of purity. This very body, this bag of red flesh with holes in it, is the body of the Buddha. This very mountain, this room, this, right here. We're going to finish soon. I'm going to leave you plenty of yoga time, promise. Okay. So, we all have affinities, things that draw us. This practice is one that we share. Don't deny yourself this practice or your affinities. Follow. In the intro to Zen class, that occurs online. There's several people who rotate in it. One of the things that we agree to cover, at least briefly, are Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. So when you are trying to gauge what, there's a reference book, there's a guidebook, there's the precepts, there's the Eightfold Path, there's reference material, there's a whole library upstairs. Who's going to read all those books? Make it a mission. For tradition outside the scriptures, we got a heck of a lot of books. In the midst of good and evil, not a thought is aroused in the mind. Kimpus. Avoid picking and choosing is what comes to my mind. Avoid in preferences. Avoid preferences. Avoid, the start of the problem is picking and choosing. Avoiding and, aversion and desire. So, continue on with your practice. Take whatever sticks in your mind. Take whatever sticks in your body and work it. You are an experimental laboratory for yourself. Try it out. See what it means. There is no formula by which you will accomplish. But you can certainly have a good time along the way. The last thing that I did, I'll print you a copy, Roshi.